So, Chamath, are you on board with the Ackman trade, basically? Ackman basically came out with that tweet storm a couple of days ago, basically saying that, listen, inflation is still the big problem, not recession. The economy is humming along. There's plenty of jobs. And we're going to have a persistent problem with inflation.
I think he's kind of right and kind of wrong. I think that you can have inflation and a recession at the same time. This is what my point is. I think we have been in a supply side recession, meaning the day of the pandemic, it's not as if demand stopped. It's not as if you and I, David, didn't want to go out or use DoorDash or take an Uber or watch a movie in a movie theater. We were not allowed, right? And so we found other ways in order to fulfill our demand. That's why Shopify, did so well on behalf of the merchants that they served. That's why Robinhood did so well. That's why Fortnite did so well, right? We found other places to spend money. But what went away was the supply. And those incentives didn't come back, and they're still not back. That's why prices keep going up.
This is the problem, is the definition of a recession, right? Chamath,
it's not the problem. It's just that most people don't understand that you can have a supply side recession and a demand side recession. They just manifest in different ways. So, well, I guess Ackman is roughly right in some ways. He's roughly not so right in some others. I think that we have an issue where we are going to transfer the supply side issues that are driving inflation to average everyday consumers and their ability to buy things. I still think that the average everyday consumer's desire to buy things is what it was from before, and on the margin is probably higher. I do think at some point it will start to change when prices get high enough, but I don't think we've reached that point of equilibrium yet. And the reason is because companies like the Walmarts of the world, who see this demand on literally a real-time basis, knows better than anybody else when and how much they can raise prices downstream into their supply chain. So when you see something like this in the Wall Street Journal, I would just encourage us all to say, they must see that demand is the same or better. And so they're going to now push those price increases down to everybody else, because now Walmart says, here is an opportunity for me to defend my earnings power. And this is why I think we're in this first inning of this. So I don't know whether Ackman is right or wrong, but I think we're in the early phases of a two-phase recession. And I don't know what that looks like because I've never lived through one of those. And I think in many ways, it's the combination of the two. And it was largely because of government failure. Government failure in how we reacted to the pandemic. In hindsight, Sachs was right all along. We overreacted by shutting everything down. We probably could have kept some supply online by understanding masking early on. And then second, we exacerbated with failed government policy because we gave everybody trillions and trillions of dollars, and we entered the capital markets and perverted it with another 7 or 8 trillion more.
Yeah, and by the way, states
that has consequences. The consequences
states are still talking about giving stimulus now in order to help people deal with inflation.
So we are not learning.
Wait a second, you can't pour gasoline on the fire.
If I had to basically put what we are all saying into a neat little bow, I would say there needs to be a multi-phased economic correction. One that corrects the supply that we took out of the market during the pandemic, one that corrects for all the excess money, and then one that corrects for demand. That's a lot of stuff we have to do.
It's a lot of work.
So the more misguided government policy we have, the farther away from finding that equilibrium point we're going to be, the longer it's going to take, the more damage it's going to be.